Welcome to the world of science fiction stories, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe my channel. Enjoy the listening. Aliens thought Earth was young, until humanity's ancient secrets were revealed. In the year 2187, the skies above Earth changed forever. Strange lights appeared one Tuesday morning, glowing with colors humans had never seen before. These weren't meteors or satellites, they were ships from beyond the stars. The Valky had arrived. They stood nearly 7 ft tall with skin that shimmered like oil on water, changing colors as they moved. Their eyes were large and completely black, set in narrow faces with no visible nose or ears. They breathed through small slits along their necks. News of first contact spread across Earth in minutes. People gathered in streets, looking up at the sky where 5 Valky ships hung in perfect formation. Markets closed, schools sent children home, religious leaders called for calm, while military forces around the world went on high alert. Commander Tay led the Valky delegation. She had studied distant worlds for over 40 Valky years, but Earth fascinated her most. The small blue planet had appeared on their scans just 3 years ago, when humans began using a new type of energy that created ripples in space Valky instruments could detect. "We come with peace," Commander Tay's message translated across all Earth communication channels. "We wish to learn and share knowledge." World leaders gathered in New York at the United Nations Space Council, a branch created just 30 years earlier when humans established their first Mars colony. They prepared to meet the aliens with a mixture of fear, hope, and curiosity. President Kim of the United Earth Alliance stepped forward as humanity's representative, a calm woman with steel-gray hair and steady hands. She had been chosen for her diplomatic skills and scientific background. "We welcome you to Earth," she said when the Valky delegation entered the Great Hall. 6 aliens walked in perfect unison, their movements fluid and graceful. Commander Tay led them, wearing what looked like flowing silver cloth that moved on its own. The meeting lasted 5 hours. The Valky explained they came from a star system 87 light-years away. They had mastered faster-than-light travel over 400 years ago and had peacefully contacted 17 other species before humans. "Your advancement puzzles us," Commander Tay said through her translator device. "Most species take 3 times longer to reach space. You moved from simple flight to Mars colonies in less than 2 centuries. President Kim smiled. Humans are naturally curious and adaptable. But Commander Tay tilted her head in what humans would later learn was their gesture of doubt. "Perhaps, or perhaps there is more to your story." The next weeks brought cultural exchanges. Valky scientists visited Earth's major cities, while human diplomats toured the Valky mothership. Both sides shared art, music, and basic scientific knowledge, carefully avoiding military or advanced technological secrets. Commander Tay spent much of her time in Earth's museums and libraries. She found herself drawn to ancient history sections, studying artifacts from civilizations long gone. Something about human history didn't match Valky predictions about species development. "Your pyramids," she said to Dr. Han, her human guide at the Cairo Museum. "They seem too precise for the tools your ancestors supposedly used." Dr. Han nodded. Many archaeologists have wondered the same thing. Some believe ancient humans had help or knowledge we don't understand. Commander Tay's skin rippled with blue patterns, a sign of intense interest among her kind. "And these myths of gods who came from the sky? Just stories." "Every culture has them," Dr. Han said. "Every culture on Earth," Commander Tay corrected. "But we have found similar stories on only 2 other worlds. Both had forgotten their true histories." The commander's interest grew when she discovered the underwater ruins near Japan, stone structures that seemed to predate known civilization by thousands of years, and the perfectly cut stone blocks in Peru that weigh tons yet fit together without mortar, and strange electrical devices found in ancient Egyptian tombs. She requested access to more restricted archaeological sites. At first, Earth authorities hesitated, but curiosity overcame caution. They wanted to know what she suspected. In the deep desert of Australia, Commander Tay examined cave paintings said to be 40,000 years old. Some showed figures that looked nothing like humans or any Earth animal. One series of markings resembled star charts. "These don't match the stars as seen from Earth," she told her team. "They show a view from somewhere else." When human scientists tested the paint using new methods developed with Valky help, they made a startling discovery. The paintings contained trace elements not found naturally on Earth. Commander Tay's research intensified. She collected samples from ancient sites across the planet. She compared human DNA with biological records from other worlds. She analyzed old texts about lost continents and civilizations destroyed by great floods. 3 months after arrival, she requested a private meeting with President Kim and the Security Council. "Your world is not what it appears to be," Commander Tay said simply, "and your species may be much older than you believe." She projected images showing similarities between ancient Earth writing and symbols found on a dead world 1,550 light-years away. She displayed genetic markers in human DNA that matched no Earth species, but showed links to biological samples from distant star systems. "We believed Earth was new to the galactic community," Commander Tay said. "Now I suspect humans may once have been part of a much older civilization that spanned many worlds." President Kim stared at the evidence, her hands tied around her coffee cup. "That's impossible. We evolved here." "Did you?" Commander Tay asked softly. "Then why do so many of your oldest myths speak of wars in the heavens? Why do your ancient texts mention technology no primitive society could understand? Why does human DNA contain sequences that appear designed rather than evolved?" The room fell silent. Outside, people went about their lives, unaware that their understanding of human history might soon change forever. "There is one way to know for certain," Commander Tay said. "My research shows unusual energy readings from beneath the Antarctic ice sheet. If you will permit a joint expedition, we may find answers there." President Kim looked at her advisors, then back at the alien. "If what you're suggesting is true, that humans have some forgotten connection to the stars, why don't we remember it?" Commander Tay's skin turned a deep purple. "That, President Kim, is what truly worries me, because something must have happened to make your entire species forget." Days later, as scientists prepared for the Antarctic expedition, Commander Tay received a transmission from the Valky home world. Her leaders had reviewed her findings and upgraded Earth's status from newly discovered civilization to potential legacy world, their term for planets with connections to ancient spacefaring societies. The message ended with a warning: "Proceed with caution. If humans are indeed descendants of the Forgotten Ones, their awakening may trigger protocols established long before our recording of history." Commander Tay stared at the stars that night, wondering what secrets lay frozen beneath Earth's ice and buried in human DNA. Something had brought humans back to the stars after a very long absence, and she couldn't help wondering if something out there had been waiting for their return. Cold wind whipped across the Gobi Desert as the team of scientists set up their camp. 5 large tents stood in a circle, their sides flapping against the gusts that threw sand everywhere. This wasn't just any research expedition. It was the first joint human-Valky archaeological dig in history. Dr. Jai Wu checked her equipment one last time. At 52, she was Earth's top expert on civilizations that existed before recorded history. Her gray-streaked hair was pulled back in a practical bun, and decades of fieldwork had left her skin weathered. She had excavated sites on every continent, but nothing had prepared her for working alongside aliens. "The readings are strongest here," said Dak, a Valky technician whose skin shifted between green and blue tones. He held a device that looked like a silver rod with a glowing tip. "Something large beneath us." Commander Tay stood nearby, her tall figure casting a long shadow in the setting sun. "How deep?" "At least 30 meters," Dak replied. Dr. Jai Wu frowned. "That's impossible. Nothing from ancient human civilizations would be buried that deep unless it was deliberately hidden." "Perhaps it was," said Commander Tay. They began digging the next morning. The Valky brought machines that cut through the desert floor like it was butter, boring a perfect shaft downward. By noon, they had reached 15 meters. By evening, they hit something solid at 34 meters below the surface. "It's not rock," reported Sanho, a young geologist who monitored the drill. "The material is reflecting our scans in patterns consistent with processed metal." Dr. Jai Wu's heart raced. No human civilization had technology to create metal structures this size 75,000 years ago, the date their initial tests suggested for the site. Humans at that time were supposed to be using basic stone tools, not building underground metal chambers. On the third day, they created an entry point. Commander Tay insisted on being the first to enter alongside Dr. Jai Wu. They descended in a small platform that the Valky team lowered carefully through the shaft. "Air readings are normal," said Commander Tay, checking the small device on her wrist. "No toxins detected." Dr. Jai Wu nodded, but kept her breathing mask on as they stepped off the platform onto a smooth floor. Their lights revealed a vast chamber extending into darkness. The walls gleamed with a material that wasn't quite metal and wasn't quite stone. "Look at the floor," Dr. Jai Wu whispered. Patterns were etched into the surface, circles inside circles connected by lines. It reminded her of circuit boards, but with a fluid, artistic quality no human engineer would design. As they moved deeper, lights suddenly flared to life around them. Not flames or electricity, but a soft blue glow emanating from the walls themselves. "It's responding to our presence," Commander Tay said, her voice hushed with awe. "After 75,000 years, it still has power." They came to what appeared to be a control room. Crystal pillars rose from the floor, covered in strange symbols. When Dr. Jai Wu moved closer to one, it brightened and began humming. "Don't touch anything," warned Commander Tay. Too late. The crystal had already responded to Dr. Jai Wu's proximity. Images suddenly projected into the air between them, three-dimensional holograms showing what looked like humans dressed in flowing garments working alongside beings that were neither human nor Valky. "These are technical schematics," said Commander Tay, studying the floating images, "for ships that could travel between stars." Dr. Jai Wu moved to another crystal column. This one activated to show a map of Earth as it would have looked 75,000 years ago, with different coastlines and climate zones. Then the image zoomed out to show Earth's solar system, then further to reveal a spiral arm of the galaxy. Dozens of stars lit up across the map, lines connected them, forming a network. Text appeared in a flowing script Dr. Jai Wu had never seen before. "Can you read this?" she asked. Commander Tay's skin had turned a pale white, a sign of shock among her kind. "Some of it. These words are similar to ancient texts found on 3 other worlds. They translate roughly to Restoration Protocol and Seed worlds." Dr. Jai Wu pointed to Earth on the map. "Why is Earth labeled differently?" Commander Tay studied the symbols. "It marks Earth as primary restoration site, Phase 3, not as the species' home world." The implications hit Dr. Jai Wu like a physical blow. If Earth wasn't humanity's original home. Over the next week, more researchers joined them. The chamber turned out to be just one of 7 interconnected rooms, each filled with technology that should not exist. They found devices that still functioned after 75,000 years, including what appeared to be computers made of crystal with storage capacities beyond anything humans had created. In the largest chamber, they discovered a mural covering an entire wall. It depicted a history, humans living among the stars, building great cities on many worlds, then a darkness spreading across the galaxy, ships fleeing, and finally humans arriving on Earth, but not as conquerors or explorers. They were shown kneeling, being returned to a simpler state. "They were running from something," Dr. Jai Wu said as she studied the mural. "And Earth was what? A hiding place? Or a vault?" suggested Commander Tay. "A place to preserve your species while something terrible passed." News of the discovery spread despite government attempts to control information. More chambers were found in other parts of the world. Beneath the ocean near Japan, deep in the Amazon jungle, under the ice in Antarctica. All with the same advanced technology, all approximately the same age. The Valky High Council sent urgent messages to Commander Tay. This discovery contradicted their understanding of galactic history. No records existed of an advanced human civilization 75,000 years ago. If humans had once been a spacefaring species, what happened to them? And why was all evidence of their existence missing from every alien archive? Earth governments held emergency sessions. Religious leaders debated what this meant for human origin stories. Scientists worked day and night to understand the technology in the chambers. Dr. Jai Wu hardly slept. She spent every waking hour in the Gobi chamber studying the murals and attempting to decipher the crystal computers. One night, alone in the control room, she noticed something she had missed before, a small depression in the floor just the size of a human hand. Acting on instinct, she placed her palm against it. The entire chamber hummed to life. The crystal columns glowed brighter than ever before. A voice spoke, not in any human language, yet somehow she understood it perfectly. Genetic verification accepted. Heritage line confirmed. Awakening sequence initiated. When Commander Tay and the others rushed in minutes later, they found Dr. Jai Wu standing in the center of the room, surrounded by holographic displays showing star maps, technical diagrams, and what looked like human DNA strands being compared to something else. "What did you do?" Commander Tay asked. Dr. Jai Wu turned to her, eyes wide with wonder and fear. "I didn't do anything. It recognized me, and I think it's waking up. All of them are waking up." At that exact moment, in chambers around the world, ancient systems hummed to life. After 75,000 years of waiting, humanity's forgotten legacy had begun to stir. Hana woke up screaming for the third night in a row. Her small apartment in Seoul was dark except for the glow of the city lights filtering through her curtains. She sat up, breathing hard, trying to hold on to the dream before it slipped away. Strange symbols floated in her mind, making perfect sense while she slept but fading quickly now. She grabbed her tablet and quickly sketched what she remembered. Curved lines and dots that somehow formed words in a language she had never learned but somehow understood in her dreams. "Not dreams," she whispered to herself, "memories." It had started 2 weeks after the discoveries in the Gobi Desert. Hana had watched the news like everyone else, fascinated by the ancient chamber found buried deep in the sand. As one of South Korea's top physicists, she had even sent a research proposal to join the international team studying the artifacts. Then the dreams began, and with them, knowledge she couldn't possibly have. Hana wasn't alone. Around the world, hundreds of people started experiencing similar phenomena. A farmer in Brazil who suddenly could read the symbols found in an Amazon chamber. A high school teacher in Egypt who dreamed of building star engines. A child in Finland who drew detailed schematics for devices no one understood. They called themselves memory keepers, though no one knew who first used the term. Something inside them had awakened, triggered by the activation of the ancient sites. When Hana finally received permission to visit the Antarctic facility, she felt like she was coming home. The moment she stepped into the chamber with its crystal computers and humming energy sources, the foreign symbols stopped seeming foreign. "You understand it, don't you?" said Dr. Jai Wu, who had been watching her closely. Hana nodded, approaching the crystal column. "This section describes energy conversion from quantum vacuum states. This part talks about navigation through, I don't know the word in our language, spaces between normal space." Dr. Jai Wu exchanged glances with Commander Tay, who stood nearby. "How is this possible?" the doctor asked. "I think," Hana placed her hand on the crystal, which brightened at her touch. "I think it's in my genes, in all our genes. Some of us just have more of whatever they put there." "They?" Commander Tay asked. "Our ancestors," Hana said simply, "the ones who came before." Within days, the world governments created a special program, gathering memory keepers from across the globe. 57 people from different countries, cultures, and backgrounds who all shared one thing. They could understand and interact with the ancient technology in ways no one else could. Hana quickly emerged as the strongest conduit. When she interfaced with the crystal systems, she could access deeper layers of information than the others. Through her, the first translations of the ancient language became possible. Commander Tay worked closely with her, often spending entire days in the Antarctic facility as Hana unraveled the secrets stored in the crystal matrices. Other Valky observed with growing concern. "The human is accessing military technology," warned Kell, a Valky security officer assigned to the project. "Technology far beyond what their current civilization should possess." "They're not acquiring it," Commander Tay argued. "They're remembering it. There's a difference." "Is there?" Kell's skin flashed red patterns, a sign of danger in Valky communication. "If they gain access to planet-killer weapons or dimensional manipulation, does it matter whether they built it or merely remembered how to build it?" But Commander Tay had grown to respect the humans, especially Hana. She watched as the young physicist stood before the United Nations, explaining what she had learned from communing with the crystal archives. "Earth is not our first home," Hana told the assembled world leaders, her voice steady despite the weight of her words. "Approximately 100,000 years ago, humans lived across many star systems. We were an advanced civilization with technology that could bend the laws of physics as we understand them today." Murmurs spread through the assembly as translators relayed her words in dozens of languages. "Then something happened," Hana continued. "The archives call it the Void Cascade, a wave of destruction moving through the galaxy, consuming everything it touched. Not a natural phenomenon, but something created, perhaps as a weapon that escaped control." She displayed holographic images extracted from the crystal memories. Beautiful cities on distant worlds falling into darkness, ships fleeing ahead of an expanding shadow. "Our ancestors knew they couldn't stop it completely, so they created Project Genesis, a last resort to preserve humanity. They selected Earth, a planet they had seeded with life millions of years earlier but never fully colonized, as a sanctuary." Hana explained how the ancient humans had made the difficult choice to regress their own species. They used genetic engineering to simplify human biology, removing certain advanced capabilities and inserting dormant codes that would allow future generations to eventually reclaim their heritage. "They built the chambers as time capsules," she said, "waiting for us to advance enough to find them again. And they embedded memories, technical knowledge, history, star maps into special genetic lineages, into people like me." The revelation divided not just the Valky, but humanity itself. Some saw it as an exciting new chapter in human history. Others feared what it meant for religious beliefs and cultural identities built on the assumption that humans had evolved solely on Earth. But for the memory keepers, there was no going back. Each day brought new awareness as dormant neural pathways activated. Hana found herself understanding concepts she had struggled with for years as a physicist. The unified theory that had eluded Earth scientists was suddenly clear to her because someone else had solved it long ago, and that knowledge was encoded in her DNA.